What can you expect during your students' first few days when they arrive? Remember that your student will be experiencing many different changes when they first come here. It's a new culture, new language. They study English in school, but many times it's British English, so they might not be accustomed to the American accent. Um, so that might take them a while to get used to. They'll be experiencing different foods that they're not used to. Their bodies will be adjusting to the time change, so they'll be experiencing some jet lag. And the times that we eat are very different here than in Europe. So they'll be adjusting to the different times for meals. All of this, all these changes can sometimes lead to homesickness in the first few days. So how do we deal with homesickness? The best way is to keep them as occupied as possible. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be taking them out, entertaining them 24/7, not at all, but just including them in everything that you do. So if you're going grocery shopping, running to the post office, Target, the bank, anything like that, take them along. These are cultural learning experiences for them. They're very different here than they are in Europe. So it helps improve their language skills, and it also helps them to learn about our culture and how are things done here, and what is shopping like here, how do banks work. They don't have drive-through banks um, like we do here, so that's sometimes a shock to them when they see that. Everything is different, new and different, so don't hesitate to take them on those everyday errands. Keeping them occupied at home, so you can feel free to ask them to help out at home. Help them. They can maybe help set the table, help with cooking. A lot of the times they like to cook or bake, so maybe have them participate in some of those, or barbecuing, helping around the house, that kind of thing. Keeping them busy. Maybe engaging them in a board game, or ask if they want to watch a TV show. That's always a language builder too, but just engaging them as much as possible, asking them questions about their lives back home, asking if they have pictures to share with you. And you can share pictures of your family as well, your relatives, to start a conversation. That's also a great way to build some language vocabulary. Showing pictures of your extended family or your friends is a great way to break the ice. And ask if your student has pictures that they can share as well. And you can ask them about that. The more that you ask them questions about their lives back home, it shows that you're interested in their lives, and they like that, and it helps them to feel comfortable. Communication. We don't want them to communicate back home, particularly in those first few days. We prefer not to, because if they are experiencing any homesickness, it's going to actually be worse if they communicate back home. If they are missing mom and dad and suddenly they hear their voices, it's going to just make them that much more homesick, and it will take them that much longer to adjust to life here and to overcome their homesickness. So we try to avoid that. Again, a great way to do that is for the parents, the host parents. If you could be proactive in just sending emails periodically back to the students' parents, letting them know how things are going, and just being positive about it, sharing some of the fun things you've been doing, and maybe a photo here and there. The parents will be reassured, and we won't have any. Hopefully, avoid some of the communication back home. The parents are very far away. They don't need to know if their child is homesick or not. It's probably not a good idea for them to know, because usually homesickness lasts for just a few days, and then they get over it, and they're not, after 3 weeks, they won't even remember that they were homesick in the first place. What the parents back home don't know, it's not going to kill them, so they don't need to know about it in the beginning. Um, One of the questions we have is, what would people think that they want to ask their student what they would like to do. So for example, when they get up in the morning, so what would you like to do today? Well, the students, number one, they don't really know what there is to do, so you have to provide some guidance with that, maybe giving them a couple of options of things to do. Well, we could go to the lake today and hang out at the lake, or we could go see a movie. Giving a couple of options and let them choose from there. It's also very cultural in that, particularly from France, the students have been raised to not ask for things from their host family. They consider that too forward and maybe a little bit rude. So they won't tell you what they want to do because they don't want to put you out and they don't want to be rude. So they're going to let you choose what to do. So sometimes it's best to just make the decision yourself and just tell them what you're going to be doing. We're going to the lake today. We're going to spend the afternoon at the lake, or we're going to go grocery shopping this morning, and then later we're going to go for a picnic at a park, or things like that. And you can just tell them what you plan to do. That usually works best. It takes some time for the students to adjust, especially if they've never been here before or if they've never been away from home before. So, giving them some of that time to adjust, and I think providing some expectations up front. So, letting them know each day what the plan is, maybe for the next day. What time do they need to wake up in the morning? What time will you be eating breakfast? If you're going someplace the next day, let them know that ahead of time. Maybe even writing it down. Sometimes students are better at reading English than they are at actually understanding it spoken. So until they get used to hearing it spoken, sometimes it helps to have it written down. Use that calendar, and maybe the calendar that we talked about in the last video, and just telling them that tomorrow we're going to be leaving at 9 o'clock in the morning because we're going shopping at the mall, and just write it down on the calendar so that they know that they have to be ready at a certain time. Again, what signs? What are some signs of homesickness? You can tell sometimes if they get quiet. Sometimes if they become really quiet or withdrawn, can be a sign of homesickness. Those are some things to watch out for. If you have any questions at all about this, feel free to, don't ever hesitate to call your staff coordinator, your language and friendship staff coordinator, who can help you, the person who will be checking in with you each week. Check in with that person, and they can, or the contact coordinator, I guess. Check in with that person and just ask. They can help you get through that. The final week of the student's stay, after they've gone through the first week of adjustment, the middle week is usually a lot easier. The student's feeling comfortable, enjoying themselves, and by week 3, they may have some mixed emotions. They might be about, maybe they're ready to go home. Maybe they're feeling, looking forward to going home because it's been a while now. But they might also be feeling sad because they've already bonded with you. They've made some friends here. They're just getting adjusted, and so they kind of feel like maybe they might be a little bit sad to leave. You might want to plan a final shopping day for them. The students, when they come here, as I mentioned before, they do bring spending money. They do tend to like to shop here, especially for clothes, because it is a lot cheaper. So maybe planning a day before they leave, one day in that last week for a final shopping day where they can buy some souvenirs and gifts to take back, or buy some clothes. Do help them with their packing at the end if possible. They're not allowed to have more than 50 pounds per checked bag, or the airlines will charge them a lot of money for that. So just kind of helping them keep that in mind. And then maybe you might want to plan the final night that they're there. Maybe have a special meal at home as a sort of farewell meal with them if possible. Ending on a positive note, and maybe reviewing some of the fun things that you did together with them. Maybe even putting together a fun photo album of all the things that you did together and giving them that as a souvenir to take home with them.